Part 207. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 2062. Dear, I understand everything you said, but there are some misunderstandings in it. I think it's a difference in understanding. Xiaofang stood up, picked up Zhang Chen's and her own cups, walked to the water dispenser to add water, came back, sat down again, and talked to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen picked up the cup without drinking, put it down again, and asked, "What's the difference?" "Master Fu, you mentioned, I also went to the farewell ceremony. I was also very moved." "You are right. If a person can leave this world with such dignity, he will be a great person," Xiaofang said, "but when it comes to companies specifically, what you said is wrong." "What's wrong?" Zhang Chen asked curiously. "Whether it is a company or an enterprise, in fact, like people, it must have a soul. In written language, it is the company's values. A company without a soul is a walking corpse. It cannot move forward steadily and cannot go far. Such an enterprise, it will be very eager for quick success and quick profit, and it may be temporarily popular, but the future is worrying, and we investors will not be optimistic about such a company. Where does the soul of a company come from? It is internalized by the soul or values of the people surrounding the company. Steve Jobs has passed away, but you can't say that the current Apple is not Steve Jobs' Apple. It's impossible. Yes, Jobs is still there, and he is still influencing the company in a subtle way. If Apple were completely de-Jobs-like, Apple would no longer be Apple. The same is true for food and drink. Master Fu has internalized the soul of this company. The soul is the power that supports a company and inspires the company to seek innovation and change like him, and strive to be the best perfect thing. Although Master Fu is old, his mentality is so young. When he created this cookbook, it can be said that he broke the rules and completely denied himself. He just felt that a new cookbook was needed. Only then can we adapt to the new company form and face the new form of customers. This is very, very difficult. Master Fu is an authority in his industry and can be said to have become famous. How difficult is it for a person who has become famous to overthrow the things that made him successful? How many successful and famous people have put themselves on a pedestal while they are still alive, and cannot look at others with equal regard? They feel that what they say and do are all golden rules, and no one is allowed to question or change them. No, Master Fu. He maintains an open and tolerant attitude toward new things and the ever-developing and changing world, as well as a mindset of learning and continuous exploration. Only then can his cooking skills, even at the end of his life, be outstanding. Still making progress, reaching a new level and singing what you call his swan song. Without a development mentality, he can't do this. Do you agree, dear? Zhang Chen nodded and said, "I agree." "Okay, then let me ask you, dear, what you want Master Fu to internalize in the soul of the company is his spirit of continuous learning, continuous change, and continuous progress," Xiaofang then asked. Zhang Chen still nodded. Master Fu didn't regard himself as a golden rule, and he didn't let his past become a rule that restricted his development. "How come you have become a rule?" Xiaofang asked, her tone already a little aggressive. Zhang Chen was not convinced and quickly said, "I didn't." "Of course, don't deny it. Your whole idea, including your approach, is subconsciously a conservative mentality and an unwillingness to change. Otherwise, why would you be afraid of accepting new investors and accepting new changes?" Xiaofang looked at Zhang Chen and continued, "If you think this kind of thing internalized within the company is powerful, this company has a strong soul, why can't you be more confident? Why don't you think about it? It's you, and can this company change new investors instead of you and the company being changed?" Investors are not fools. They can clearly distinguish what is good for the company and what is bad. You have to believe that investors will not invest in a project casually. They decide to invest in this project. At that time, it already represented his recognition of the project and the project team. Even if he had any ideas, it would only be minor adjustments. No investor would be stupid enough to ask Cook to carry out a major purge of Apple and ask him to completely de-Jobsize it, because they all know that an Apple with the Steve Jobs style is a good company. To a certain extent, you see that Cook now is more like a maintenance president. What he is doing is trying his best to keep Apple in the style of Jobs, rather than changing it, because he clearly knows that Jobs is Apple's soul. Every drop of Apple's blood carries the breath of Steve Jobs. To become Steve Jobs is to seek death. Can you let all your blood shine? Xiaofang's words made Zhang Chen silent. He was thinking that Xiaofang was right. In fact, he said earlier that fatty food and eating and drinking men and women were one and the same. That was what he meant, but Xiaofang said more accurate. Xiaofang said, as for business management, you have more experience than me. I don't need to tell you, but I just want to remind you that running a business is always about sailing against the current or retreating if you don't advance. If you want to protect the business, you will not be able to protect the business. In the end, you will only be repelled by other companies, or your peers will be completely beaten to the ground. How can you sail against the current? One is to assess the situation, which is to do the right thing at the right time. The second is to use all available resources when doing it. If you can't do these two things, it's just struggling in vain. In the end, not only can't you row against the current, but you will be carried by the water to an unknown place, and finally disappear without a trace. How many good and giant companies failed to assess the situation and did the right thing at the right time, and were eventually ruthlessly eliminated? Kodak is a recent example. How brilliant and amazing was Kodak in the film era? When the digital wave came, they failed to assess the situation and failed to see the situation clearly and transform in a timely manner, which led to their decline. Also, I don't know if you know Wang Computer Company. Yes, it is a Chinese company in the United States. In the computer industry, it was once a leader and could rival IBM. Wang just didn't see the computer clearly. The trend of miniaturization and familization has not been transformed. How many people still remember Wang? Including Jerry Yang of Yahoo. Back to food and drink. Food and drink is, to a certain extent, the transformation of Tuxianjiayuan. It is a new hotel format that adapts to the current internet age. Although you said that it has been around for thousands of years. History is old wine, but old wine is put into new bottles, which is new wine. Whoever buys wine does not buy it by looking at the bottle. You don't know whether it is new or old after you open the wine. Moreover, the wine still ages well. Yes, in this form, since it can exist for thousands of years, it means that it is very vital. With the help of the internet platform, you just made it rejuvenated. This, dear, do you agree or not? Okay, I agree, Zhang Chen said. But don't forget, food and drink is still a new business type. One of its characteristics is that the entry threshold is very low. How low is it? It's almost as low as setting up a food stall on the street. When I say this, I don't mean that it is bad, otherwise I won't vote, and I won't even encourage you to do it. Meituan and ele.me have low barriers to entry. Individuals have two legs and basics. You can deliver food if you have a sense of direction. Even if you don't have a sense of direction, you can still understand mobile phone maps, but they still made a big project. Eating men and women is somewhat similar to them. If you want to be a clothing company, you need to have factories, machines, and workers, as well as a design team and sales network, and a logistic space. You need to have the connections to get such a large area of land, and you need to have money. In the past, tens of millions can be used to build a logistic space, but now it requires at least hundreds of millions of funds. Although they are traditional industries, the barriers to entry are not low. Catering men and women doesn't need it. It only needs a few people, even a chef. It doesn't even need a processing workshop or a cold chain truck. After receiving a call, discussing the price with the customer, riding a bicycle to the farmer's market near the customer's home. After buying groceries, you can just carry a few vest bags and go to the guest's house to clean and cook them. Is that okay? Zhang Chen nodded. If he really wants to do it, of course he can do this. Even the dishes can be purchased by the guests themselves. The chef can just go to the customer's home empty-handed. Just like Hui Huan's father did, he just put this form, moved from the countryside to the city. Of course, if you do this, the taste and style of the dishes will be a little different. Basically, it can only be home-cooked. If it is not home-cooked, it is not easy to purchase ingredients. In addition, the service will be discounted. Bai Bei said the sense of ceremony is gone. If you are treating guests, there is no food and drink man and woman to save face. The most important thing is that it can only be through friends introducing friends, and there is no way to have a platform like food and drink to directly gather all the needs of the city. It's not just that, Zhang Chen said, for customers, the convenience will definitely be greatly reduced. In that case, the guests need to call the chef repeatedly to confirm, and the chef will also call the customer. Unlike what we do now, if you want to eat, just look at the recipes on the website and place an order. After placing the order, he doesn't have to worry about anything. He only needs to choose when to eat when he places the order, and everything else will be left to us. He doesn't even need to worry about whether there are cooking utensils, seasonings, and tableware. We will bring them all when they leave. All the dirty dishes will be taken away, so they can eat at home as conveniently as ordering food at a hotel. Is there anything else, dear? Xiaofang asked with a smile. And what you said before, don't worry about the ingredients. As long as it's on the menu, we will provide it. And, by the way, everyone knows the brand effect of food and drink catering for men and women is a high-end catering, and he invited us, which not only gave him face, but also gave him a sense of satisfaction, just like buying a luxury item. Yes, dear, what you said is all right, but we cannot deny the fact that the entry threshold for this industry is very low. Am I right? Xiaofang waited for Zhang Chen to finish and then said immediately, of course, enter in an industry with very low barriers to entry. Things that seem simple are actually difficult to do, and even harder to do well. Just like Meituan, ele.me, and Wei Venfang's express delivery company I mentioned earlier, they are all in this kind of industry. It is easy to enter, but it is difficult to do well and make a profit. This is why there are so many companies in the industry now. The reason why there is no company that can pose a threat to eat man and woman despite imitating eat man and woman. Xiaofang said as she looked at Zhang Chen and raised her nose at him. Don't be complacent, the good times will not last long. Next, there will be a lot of capital entering this industry, and the competition in this industry will be fierce. Why? Zhang Chen asked. Everyone is optimistic about it, and its profit model is simple and clear. As I said before, the entry barrier is low, just like shared bicycles. Now it is not only the 5 hegemons of the spring and autumn period and the 7 heroes of the warring states period, it is simply a battle of 100 regiments. How much capital is there? Grab this piece of cake, Xiaofang said. Next, the eating and drinking men and women will also face this situation. How can we break out of the encirclement? Thank you Win Sanliu for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Win Sanliu, Moon, no time to think, Jinwu Lanji, Zliang, zero thinking, IC Glutton, 4 + 1 = 5, Feng Konghu 1974, Captain Jim, Wisdom. J. Book Friend 20181130105305305944, Book Friend 1305092031191128, Book Friend 1612051930467444 Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium era, south to north. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 2063. When the two people were talking, there was a cookbook for eating for men and women on the lower shelf of the coffee table. There are two types of recipes for eating for men and women. One is on the website, which has the name of the dish, the price of the dish, and the price of the dish. There are three types: large, medium, and small. The small portion is the small portion. Different portions have different prices. Family dinners usually focus on large portions, but it is written like this. That's an entire recipe book. If all are priced in large portions, it will look very expensive and will scare away some customers. These customers are not necessarily because of money, but they feel that your store is ripping off customers. Arouse their disgust. Although there are very few people who actually order the sample portions, writing the price here will make the dishes on the menu look less expensive. Customers who place orders at food and drink are generally not short of money, but if he goes to many hotels, he will subconsciously compare the prices on the menu with the hotels he has been to. That is to say, because of the existence of examples, these people will have the illusion that it is not that expensive for chefs and waiters to come to serve. People will think it is very reasonable to charge an additional 10% service fee. After all, two people were sent over. What they don't know is that in fact, in high-end hotels, one waiter only serves one private room. In addition, the orderer is responsible for ordering and the orderer is responsible for passing the food. At home, the orderer and the orderer are responsible for passing the food. It can be omitted and the actual number of waiters is reduced. Of course, a hotel's kitchen is not a chef serving a private room, but there is no service fee in the hotel. The 10% service fee here can generally cover the wages of the chef and waiters. In addition, the food is slightly more expensive than in the hotel because there is no shop. The cost is lower than that of hotels, so the actual profit margin of food and drink is even more impressive than that of hotels. Next to the name of each dish on the menu, there are pictures, as well as the list of main ingredients and ingredients. There is no way, with Chinese dishes, you often can't quite understand what kind of dish it is from the name. The more upscale the hotel, the better. The names of the dishes are more vague, and the pictures are all of the finished dishes. If you haven't tried it, you can't tell the reason by looking at the pictures. There is a list of main ingredients, and it's clear at a glance. Valuable ingredients are also measured, indicating how many grams they are. This gives new and old customers a sense of honesty and clear consumption, and it is easy to gain the trust of customers. This is the external recipe of eating man and woman. They also have an in-house cookbook, which is the one under the coffee table. It's a big, thick book. This is the fruit of Fatty Fu's hard work. The main ingredients, seasonings, and condiments of each dish are clearly written in it. The unit is accurate to grams, and all the steps of each dish are also clearly written. It is actually an operation guide. As long as the chef takes this recipe and follows it, he can make this dish. No matter whether he is a chef in Beijing or Nanjing, Guangzhou or Lanzhou, the taste of the dish will be the same. This is standardization. This recipe book is important information of their company and also a trade secret. Each store only has one copy, which is kept by the store manager. There are strict regulations that no photocopying is allowed and no one is allowed to take it home. The chefs can only do it in the processing workshop, under surveillance cameras. Reference is not allowed and copying is not allowed. The store manager will take away the recipe book at the end of each day. Generally, the division of labor in the kitchen of a hotel is very strict. For example, the person standing at the head of the pot is always at the head of the pot, holding a kitchen knife in his hand, and the person standing at the head of the wok is always standing at the head of the wok, holding a spoon in his hand. The pirs and woks are numbered, and the dishes in the entire hotel are also classified. For example, which dishes are usually cooked by the person who cooks the number 1 wok, and which ones are cooked by the chef who cooks the number 2 wok. There is also a chef who is responsible for making lotus. There are carvings and carvings. The one who is responsible for making stewed vegetables only makes braised vegetables, roasted suckling pig and roasted chicken and duck. Every day, he is only responsible for roasting suckling pig, chicken, and duck, and the one who makes stews. When making stews, those who steam them just steam them. There are few chefs who will start from chopping vegetables and cook all the recipes in the hotel. The same is true in the processing workshop of food and drink. Different people are responsible for the front-end processing of different dishes, and the chef who goes to the guest's home is only responsible for cooking. As for how these semi-finished products are marinated and what seasonings are used, the chef had no idea. The same is true when they learn recipes. Everyone only learns the part they are responsible for. Who has so much time to learn such a thick book? Unless they are thoughtful, few people will learn the entire book. Memorize the recipe, which objectively achieves the result of confidentiality. Xiaofang took out the recipe and said to Zhang Chen, "By the way, I discovered a secret on this recipe. Master Fu has really good intentions. I forgot to tell you." "What secret?" Zhang Chen asked. "I found that the seasonings used by Master Fu in this recipe are very special. They are used to make semi-finished products. He uses very unpopular seasonings and rarely uses seasonings that ordinary people have at home. For example, he does not use white wine and cooking wine, instead use Korean super water soju, maple soju, and jinro, or Korean confinement wine. The same goes for other seasonings. It's obviously Chinese food, but he uses a lot of seasonings from Western and Southeast Asian food, and doesn't use dark soy sauce or light soy sauce very much." Xiaofang said. Zhang Chen took the recipe book and opened it to look at it. It was really like this. Why didn't he pay attention before? He looked at Xiaofang with some confusion, and Xiaofang asked, "Do you know why this is happening, Master Fu?" Zhang Chen thought for a while, but still didn't understand, and asked, "Do you know?" "Of course I know, so he has good intentions," Xiaofang said with a smile. "He just wants to create the uniqueness of the dishes. Think about it, in ordinary families, who would prepare these seasonings? But if you without these seasonings, the same ingredients will taste worse. That's what Master Fu wants to do. It's obviously my chef who made the dish in front of you at your home. It seems very simple to you, but as long as you don't have this recipe book, you don't know what these ingredients are used for. No matter what seasoning you want to learn, but you can't make a delicious dish, and you still want to eat it, then you have to go to the food and drink point." As soon as Xiaofang said this, Zhang Chen understood and couldn't help laughing. It was true. It looked like Fatty Fu had good intentions. There was another trick here. Xiaofang took the cookbook back from Zhang Chen's hand, closed it, and put it again on the lower shelf of the coffee table. After Zhang Chen got the cookbook back, he didn't look at it much, but he saw that the cover of the cookbook had been rolled up. Obviously someone often read it. Zhang Chen asked Xiaofang, "Do you read this cookbook often?" "Yes, when I sit here and have nothing to do, I will look through it, looking at each dish, seeing how they are put together, the different flavors of various ingredients and seasonings, and finally mixed into the taste of the dish. It is very interesting, just it's like doing a chemistry experiment in a laboratory." Xiaofang said, pressed her hand on the coffee table, and asked Zhang Chen, "Shall we continue the previous topic?" Zhang Chen said yes. Xiaofang then introduced the senior, as well as what happened yesterday afternoon when he came to his office to chat with her and Lu Yun, and basically told Zhang Chen. Xiaofang said, "He is currently one of the best in China and in our industry, whether it is the size of the funds he manages, the projects he invests in, or his judgment on the projects eating men and women. From the day you told me that I designed a road map for its entire development for you, I knew that it could not escape and would definitely take this path. My dear, whether you want it or not, whether you want it or not, you have to take this path. Don't worry, let me analyze it for you slowly. First, let's talk about how big the market for food for men and women is. Our country, excluding Taiwan, has a total of 333 prefecture-level units and 2,851 county-level units. Among them, except for the central and western regions, it can be said that 60 to 70% of poverty-stricken areas are suitable places for our food and drink men and women to open branches. In super cities like Beijing and Shanghai, one store is not enough. In the southeastern coastal areas, in some places, you can even open one restaurant in a town. My most conservative estimate is that it is 2,000. Food and drinking must reach the scale of 2,000. Moreover, it does not mean that there will be time. You develop slowly over 5 or 10 years, but within 1 or 2 years, you must complete the layout of 2,000 companies. With such a large scale and front, think about it, how can it be enough if you only rely on your own accumulation? Although the current profitability of food and drink is very good, it is in a static state, that is, you are no longer expanding rapidly. However, once it starts to expand rapidly, funds will definitely not be able to keep up, and it is necessary to raise larger funds through continuous financing and finally through listing. You have no problem if I ask you to take out 100 billion, but if you are asked to take out 51 billion in cash at once, can you do it? Half-acre field is constantly giving blood transfusions to eating men and women? Does half an acre itself not need development? Diet Men and Women has now completed its start-up period. It has reached the stage where it can rely on its own capabilities and conditions to obtain more funds from the capital market. Therefore, it will not only start Series A, but also Series B and Series C N rounds. Through continuous financing, the funds needed for rapid expansion are obtained. While branch stores are expanding, there is one more thing that must be done, and it must be done immediately. That is, when so many branches are opened, employee training, whether it is chefs, waiters, or managers, relies on the Jubeo logistics base. This place is definitely not enough. Food and drink men and women need their own schools, vocational skills training schools. Xiaofang said. Zhang Chen couldn't help but want to say something. Xiaofang waved his hand to stop him. Xiaofang said, "Honey, I know what you want to say. You must be trying to say that you don't think it's necessary to expand so fast, right?" Zhang Chen nodded. "It has to be so fast, otherwise it will be too late," Xiaofang said. Now, it is not a senior student who is optimistic about this area, but a lot of capital. They come to me, Lu Yun, and even Xiaohu and others to inquire about our financing status. There are quite a few people. What do you think they would do if they didn't have the chance to enter the food and drinking men and women? Because of this, they gave up investing in this area. Watching you slowly make this area bigger and stronger in 5 or 10 years. Of course it's impossible. They will definitely invest in similar companies, with dozens and hundreds of food and drink men and women. If you know how to get up, you are still the leader. If you slack off, develop not fast enough, and let others get ahead of you, you will soon find that you are lagging behind. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. Xiaofang's words were very direct, but when he thought about it, it would really be like this. "Dear, do you still remember the day when Bai Bei first talked to us about fresh home delivery? That day I told Bai Bei that we couldn't expand one community after another, as he said. If that happened, he would not even be able to expand the entire Hangzhou before Johto is captured. You will find that a similar company bigger than his has already started up. Home delivery is also an industry with a very low entry barrier. For an industry with such a low barrier to entry, you either don't do it, or you must scale it up if you want to do it. Use your scale to raise the threshold for this industry. To keep competitors away, I told him that if we want to do it, we need to launch it in at least 3 cities at the same time. This is what I mean. Now, it's time for food and drink men and women. It's time to suddenly grow up like blowing up a balloon, and use your scale to block other competitors. No chicken can compete with KFC, just because they can't do what KFC does scale. This is the move that the food and drinks must take to firmly establish their position as the boss before the 100 Regiment War at the Shopless Hotel comes. Zhang Chen listened to Xiaofang's words, and he suddenly remembered what he and Xia said that day, that you should be domineering when doing big things, and be gangster when doing small things. He was thinking, is it time to show your domineering power now? Thank you Yishichong for the reward. Thank you Zhao 1017, the flat tire Mars rover for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2064. Dear, think about it, just for Master Fu, you are expanding food and drink across the country and making it the largest online hotel in the country. In terms of scale and turnover, it may even become the largest restaurant in the country. As long as the hotel develops according to this roadmap, it can be achieved. Or are you just standing still, and then you see other competitors rising up one by one and passing you? You are the earliest to get up and the earliest to leave, but in the end you become a martyr. My dear, do you think that these two things, which one is more worthy of Master Fu, worthy of his painstaking efforts, worthy of his swan song? Xiaofang asked Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen was silent. He had to admit that Xiaofang was right. This industry has become a hot topic now. Many experts have included hotels without stores such as food and beverages for men and women into the sharing industry. The economic category, sharing economy, is a hot word now, from shared bicycles to shared cars, shared umbrellas to shared power banks. Shared office spaces and shared short-term rentals, shared clothing and shared labor recruitment platforms, and shared movies and TV series, that is, everyone joins in to make movies and TV shows. For a while, it seems that everything can be shared. That day Lu Ligan and Huo joked and said, "Second Commander, you are the earliest beneficiary of the sharing economy." Forced, I don't understand what you're talking about. I only know how to collect rent when renting a house, and collect delivery fees when delivering goods. I don't owe any credit, Huo said. Why don't you understand? You are a ding-dong lover. Aren't those ding-dongs just sharing women? Lu Ligan said, and the idiot laughed. Now, there are indeed many companies that are ready to enter the storeless hotel industry. Zhang Chen also believes what Xiaofang said. A lot of capital will follow and enter this industry. In today's society, it seems that all of a sudden, there is more money. It's not over. As long as it's profitable, money will flock here. The situation Xiaofang mentioned will indeed happen. Once food and drink enters the fast lane and begins to expand rapidly across the country, it will immediately change from a money-making company to a money-burning company. It not only requires money to open branches and rent rooms, but also requires money to recruit and train personnel, and buy tableware. Money is needed for equipment and vehicles, and even more money for advertising. When everyone starts shouting, those who don't will soon be forgotten. There is no such thing as the fragrance of wine that is not afraid of deep alleys. In this society, everyone is in a hurry. If you whisper, no one will have the mood and patience to listen. You must shout loudly, shout, keep shouting, chatter, and don't stop. Only in this way will you have traffic, and traffic needs to be invested and earned by burning money. Burning money like this every day, Zhang Chen also understood that he would definitely not be able to sustain it with half an acre of land, so he had to use social resources to start rounds of financing. Zhang Chen does not deny that the eating and drinking men and women have now entered the Colosseum, and a duel to win or lose is about to begin. There is not one opponent, but countless opponents. Countless opponents will take turns to fight and challenge you. This sometimes, you really have no other way except to make yourself stronger. But Zhang Chen felt a vague uneasiness in his heart. He felt that being big did have its benefits. The world was originally winner-take-all. But at the same time, Zhang Chen also knew that this rapid expansion in a short period of time would bring a lot of benefits. Question: the most fatal question is whether eating men and women will become a wild horse, and in the end the whole situation will get out of control. During rapid expansion, many tasks that require refinement will be streamlined and omitted. Rapid development is like driving fast on the highway, which will bring people a somewhat dizzy excitement, but at the same time, because it is too fast, you will not be able to see clearly the scenes on both sides of the road and the condition of the road surface. Many times, when you are rushing forward, danger may be approaching. During rapid expansion, people's mentality, especially the mentality of managers, will also change. New stores are opening every day, and many new customers become their members every day. At this time, something goes wrong in a certain store. When? Who cares? Some customers have reported that their service level is declining and the taste of their dishes is deteriorating. Who cares? Everyone will complain about you. We have so many new customers coming in every day, and we can't even serve you. It's good to be able to get you in line, but it's not like you are the only customer. Who cares about you? This will definitely happen. When the manager's mentality begins to expand, he will walk with his head held high and will not look down at the ground. He does not know the condition of the road, nor his own quality, conduct, and along with the company's values, they were falling all over the place. By the time they realized it, the entire company was riddled with holes. In service industries and internet platforms, customers have no understanding of the company or the platform. He will just click on the keyboard with his fingers without hesitation, choose to leave you and click on other platforms. The difference is only whether he leaves with a curse or leaves with a curse. Leave silently, or leave ruthlessly anyway. Delete your app from his phone and never come back. The reason why Zhang Chen rejects new investors so much is because he does not trust them. He feels that while they may bring new investments, they may also bring disaster to eating men and women. What he is most worried about is that in order to pursue short-term benefits, the needs of territory expansion and the good-looking statements of investors, in order to raise new financing as soon as possible and finally go public, they must make eating man and woman look beautiful and Big Mac, right? For them, they are more concerned about the rapid development of the company and bluffing, rather than solidly practicing their internal skills. They will regard all actions of braking as hindering the development of the company, but even if a car is speeding on the highway, if you don't know how to brake and keep driving, there will only be one final outcome, and that is the car's destruction. People die. Many times, investors don't care about this. What they care about is to inflate the balloon quickly so that it can be listed at a high valuation in the shortest possible time. As long as it can be listed, they will start their victory escape. As for the company, they won't care about what happens in the end. At this time, eating and drinking men and women is someone else's business and has nothing to do with them. It was impossible for Zhang Chen to do this. He had already made up his mind to live and die with eating and drinking men and women. Although Xiaofang had drawn a road map for him at the earliest, he had waited until the company went public and hit the ceiling. He left in style, with a bulging pocket. Zhang Chen also had such a plan at the time, but now, after experiencing Fatty Fu, he has changed and has decided that he will never jump ship and leave eating and drinking men and women behind. His goals, and the goals of those investors have begun to diverge. Depending on the goal, the actions and status in the process will definitely be different. Even the small goals under a big goal will not be the same. All the forks begin to separate from one point, and then branch further and further apart. Zhang Chen is worried that there will be a point between him and the new investors that will make them destined to go further and further away. Conflicts among investors will inevitably lead to conflicts in business decision-making and management. No company with deep civil strife can go far. Zhang Chen sighed. Xiaofang looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Dear, do you think I cherish my broom is a good word or a bad word?" Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment and didn't know why Xiaofang asked. He thought for a while and said, "Just an over-embellished word. Why do you say that? It only describes one side of the matter. On the other side, the same thing can also be said to be stubborn, unrepentant, stubborn to the end, and a dead end." As Zhang Chen said, Xiaofang chuckled, "So you still know?" "What do you mean, are you talking about me?" Zhang Chen asked. No, I just want to give an example." I thought of another example of someone who failed to assess the situation and allowed himself to lose to Mei Cheng. "It was in Hangzhou," Xiaofang said. Zhang Chen asked, "What example?" "Do you know China Chemical Network?" Xiaofang asked. Zhang Chen shook his head and said he didn't know. "When I first came to Zhejiang University to study, this website was still very popular. It was the most professional and influential website in the domestic chemical industry at that time. For a while, Teacher Ma wanted to merge them, but they didn't agree, and some looked down on Teacher Ma. They felt that it's not much bigger than me. I'm still a listed company, so why don't I merge with you? So the cooperation has never been concluded. But now, very few people know about this website. I think later they just lowered their status and wanted to cooperate with Teacher Ma, but Teacher Ma would not want it. It is very simple. Their original customers are domestic and foreign. I have gone to Teacher Ma a long time ago. This website has lost its customers, so what value does it have? I think the owner of this website regretted it later on. He didn't take action when he still had chips. When he wanted to take action again, he had no chips at all. It can be seen that at the right time, do how important is the right thing to do." Zhang Chen looked at Xiaofang and laughed. He said, "You said so much, don't you just want me to agree to the around of food and drink men and women? Okay, I agree to the around, and I also agree to start expansion and be the leader. I have no grudge against money, is that okay?" "Okay, I finally achieved my goal with my sharp tongue." Of course, Xiaofang giggled, "But, I told you, financing is about resources, not just money. If it's just for money, I'll let you take another billion, and you'll have no problem." "There'll be no problem with me, Lu Yun, and Ziahu. No matter how much money I have, I'll still have it. Actually, I didn't tell you that the first time the senior came to me was not for food and drink, but for fresh delivery. He was also very optimistic about fresh delivery, including Zheng Huiyang, who also came to see me for this reason. Lu Yun and I didn't agree. Why? It's because we feel that Zai Xianshui has not yet reached the time when it needs financing, and it has not reached that appropriate time. The most important thing is that Zai Xianshui can become a giant company, and it may also be the largest project we invest in. If we start financing now, its valuation will not meet our expectations. The expectations for it are very high, reaching hundreds of billions. Also, at this stage, Bai Bei is alone in making decisions. Don't interfere with him. His idea is already very mature. It would be better to let him find a way out by himself than to have someone talking around him, so Sister Lu Yun and I have a consensus. We feel that the time is not ripe for refinancing of Zai Xianshui. Even if additional investment is needed, we can do it ourselves. But food and drink has reached this point. If we don't start financing now, we may miss the opportunity and watch our competitors grow bigger. Lu Yun and I also agree on this. You have to trust our professional judgment." "Okay, I agree." Zhang Chen sighed and said, "I also hate it when people talk around. Thank you for the reward for the 2 fish, one above and the third from top to bottom. Thank you for your monthly votes from on the road, Tien Tien, Zonkai 727, Tamagotchi, Weishir, Fangpolang 26, Lu Haolang, Zliang, Yuingzi, Wisdom. J. Book Friends 201902031030266617, Book Friends 1611222210502444. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you a nice weekend. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 2065. Xiaofang saw that Zhang Chen agreed reluctantly and knew that he still had concerns. Xiaofang asked Zhang Chen, "My dear, what are you worried about? You look so reluctant." Zhang Chen told Xiaofang his thoughts. Xiaofang laughed after listening to Zhang Chen's words. She said, "What did I think? It turns out that you are worried about the loss of power. Don't worry, this problem can be solved. We can modify the company's articles of association and rules of procedure, and set up a safety valve in the articles of association. The problems you are worried about will never happen." "How to do it?" Zhang Chen asked. Xiaofang said, "Dual-class shares can be set up, which is a binary system of shares. For ordinary companies, the shareholding system is a unitary system, that is, the same shares have the same rights, and one share equals one voting right. The dual-class structure setting is the opposite, with different rights for the same shares. The company's shares are divided into 2 classes, A, B. The management team holds Class B shares. For this part of the stock, 1 share is equivalent to 2 to N voting rights. On the contrary, for other stocks, that is, Class A stocks, 1 share is equal to 1 vote, or there is no voting right. The advantage of this setting is that it can ensure the long-term stability of the company's operations. The shares in the hands of the management team, because of the financing, will definitely be diluted, but their voting rights will not be diluted, so that the company's operating activities will remain relatively stable and will not be changed. Of course, there will be certain restrictions on Class B shares, that is, there will be many restrictions on circulation. This is also easy to understand. If you are given such high voting rights, you have to work hard and don't think about it easily. I just want to reduce my holdings and cash out. At the same time, once the shares are circulated and sold, Class B shares will become Class A shares, and the voting weight will be cancelled. There's no problem with that, Zhang Chen said. Anyway, I just got involved with food and drink and I never thought about cashing out and leaving. Xiaofang nodded and continued. The Hong Kong Stock Exchange in Hong Kong and our mainland implement the same shares with the same rights. If the company has a dual-class share structure, it will not be allowed to be listed in Hong Kong and the mainland, but it can be listed in the United States. Our goal is to be listed in the United States. Therefore, there is no problem in setting up a dual-class share structure. Many companies, such as JD.com and Teacher Ma, have similar shareholding structures. There can be a simpler way to set up dual-class shares, that is, in the company's articles of association, limit the number of voting directors on the company's board of directors to always 9 or 11 people, and other directors shall be elected according to the amount of capital contribution or by shareholders produced, and half-acre field always enjoys the qualification to send 5 or 6 people, ensuring an absolute majority. In this way, no matter how the shares of food and drink change, or how your equity is diluted, you will still firmly have the right to decide on major matters of the company. By the way, you can even be given a veto power. That is, if there is any major decision, even if the other directors of the board of directors pass it unanimously, you can also veto it. Of course, while giving you more rights, there are also restrictions on you. There will be more. What are the restrictions? Zhang Chen asked. The main thing is the restrictions on stock circulation. Since you have been given such great rights, you must always be responsible to the company. For example, your stocks will not be allowed to be pledged, and will not be transferred or sold without the consent of the entire board of directors. When shares are transferred and sold, other shareholders have priority in the transfer. When the company goes bankrupt, other shareholders' shares have priority over yours and have the right to participate in the distribution of the company's residual value, etc. Okay, there is no problem with this. Anyway, I had no intention of escaping. Since I am in charge of this company, of course I have to take full responsibility for it, Zhang Chen said. Have you thought about it? Xiao Fang asked. Zhang Chen nodded and said, think about it. If you can do this, I fully support financing. Okay, I'll go discuss it with Sister Lu Yun and Xiaohu tomorrow, as well as the seniors, and then make a plan, Xiao Fang said to Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen agreed. One more thing, Xiao Fang said. What's the matter? Zhang Chen asked. If this is the case, the Diet Man and Woman company may also have to carry out a dual design, that is, on top of Diet Man and Woman, it will also need to set up a company overseas, and this company will 100% own Diet Man and Woman, Xiao Fang said. Why do you do this? Zhang Chen asked. Because our country's company law stipulates that equal shares have equal rights. The establishment of dual-class shares can only occur in countries or regions where the law allows this, such as the Virgin Islands, and then let this company become Catering Men and Women's parent company. Through such treatment, achieves an actual dual-class share setup, Xiao Fang said. Zhang Chen nodded and understood. The next day, Xiao Fang went to discuss the matter with Lu Yun early in the morning. Lu Yun said, of course there is no problem here. Called Xiaohu, Xiaohu said, who can be more reassuring than Bai Bei's father in charge of eating and drinking? If I leave it to someone else, I will have to think about it. If I give it to him, I don't need to think about it. It's the same sentence, it's up to you to decide. Xiao Fang and Lu Yun discussed a rough plan, then called the senior and told him the matter. The senior was not surprised at all. Anyway, many of the companies he invested in were handled this way, and he was also surprised. No wonder. The senior held the phone and thought for a while, and told Xiao Fang that I was originally planning to do value investing and had no interest in participating in management of the company's specific operations. However, Xiao Fang, if this is the case, I have a condition. What conditions? Xiao Fang asked. My shares want to reach 15%. I will pay 187.5 million instead of the original 12.8, the senior said. Xiao Fang said yes, and that was settled. After Xiao Fang's plan was made, Zhang Chen, Lu Yun, Xiaohu, and the seniors all saw it and thought it was okay. Next, Zhang Chen continued to work on his own, and Xiao Fang would handle other things. Eating and Drinking Men and Women has introduced two investors in its round of financing. One is of course Xiao Fang Sr., who holds 15% of the shares, and the other is a sovereign fund from the Middle East, which holds 5% of the shares. Diet Men and Women began to recruit people on a large scale to make early preparations for expansion across the country. Jibao Company's training base was soon no longer enough. Zhang Chen could only rent a classroom from Lin Shuwen to meet his urgent needs. At the same time, he established his own vocational school is imminent. Zhang Chen decided to place the site of the vocational school in the Yongcheng logistic space. In the future, Zaixian Delivery will move there, and the headquarters of Catering Men and Women will definitely move there as well. To run a school, you need to obtain a qualification certificate. Zhang Chen called Sun Jin and told her about his plan to open a vocational and technical school for food and beverages for men and women in Yongcheng. He asked her about the relevant procedures. What should I do? Sun Jin is a member of the Standing Committee of the Yongcheng City Party Committee and Minister of Propaganda. The local education committee belongs to the propaganda system and is the unit in charge of Sun Jin. Sun Jin listened to Zhang Chen and said to him, Zhang Chen, how about I give you an idea? Okay, what can you do to help me? Zhang Chen asked. We are now also concentrating the vocational classes originally held in middle schools in various towns and villages to the city. Do you know the vocational school at Wang's house across the river at the train station? Yes, that's right. It's the one that originally trained drivers, chefs, and the vocational school for kindergarten teachers has now been expanded. Zhang Chen, you don't want to open any new vocational school. Just this vocational school. How about your company co-organizing it with the city? If you need chefs and waiters, just open classes for chefs and waiters. That will solve the problem. The issue of the future for our students. When Zhang Chen heard this, he thought this was a good idea, as it would save him a lot of trouble, but I currently have a serious shortage of people. I can't afford to wait for you to train them in a few years, Zhang Chen said. If you want to build a school, you can just draw on paper with a pen. It doesn't take any time, Sun Jin asked. What are you going to do now? The chefs I'm recruiting now are all chefs who already have chef certificates. After our short-term training, they start working directly, Zhang Chen said. Zhang Chen, thanks to your business being so big, why can't you turn your head? The new teaching building of the vocational school is there. It's a cooperative school. Can't you use a few classrooms for short-term training? By the way, there are good performers. Chefs and waiters can also stay and work as teachers in vocational schools, so that the combination of short-term training and long-term teaching can completely solve your company's employment problem. Sun Jin said. Zhang Chen burst out laughing. He held the phone in one hand, patted his head with the other, and said with a smile. Yes, yes, I am really being ridiculous. My brain is short-circuited, but you are still a wise leader. Sun Jin smiled and said, okay, don't put your hat on me, Zhang Chen. If you have this intention, I will call the director of the education committee over, discuss it with him, and then put this matter to the standing committee for discussion. Zhang Chen said yes, thank you. From that day when Zhang Xiangbei sent her the recording of Lawyer Yu, Zhou Yan kept quiet. After a few days, she sent Zhang Xiangbei a thank you, Mr. Zhang. After that, there was no movement from Zhou Yan. Zhang Xiangbei did not delete her, but he had almost forgotten about her. This person who had been silent for a long time suddenly made news today and sent a message to Zhang Xiangbei. The content of the message was very simple, just 4 words and 2 punctuation marks. Mr. Zhang, be careful. Zhang Xiangbei replied, what should you be careful about? The other party then fell into a long silence and did not reply any message to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei was confused, so he called Wu Huan and Zhou Ruyi to the office and showed them WeChat. Zhou Ruyi yelled as soon as he saw it. What the hell, is she threatening you? Zhang Xiangbei looked at it and said, it doesn't look like it. If it was a threat, she wouldn't have said Mr. Zhang, be careful, but would have written Mr. Zhang, be careful. Wu Huan and Zhou Ruyi both laughed. They also felt that what Zhang Xiangbei said made sense. This WeChat message did seem to be a reminder, not a threat. But what was Zhou Yan reminding, and what did she want Zhang Xiangbei to be careful about? The 3 of them muttered for a long time, but didn't understand. Never mind him, the soldiers will stop us and the water will cover us, so we shouldn't scare ourselves, Zhang Xiangbei said to Wu Huan and Zhou Ruyi. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 2066. Lu Ligan stayed in Deking for more than a week and returned to Hangzhou. This time he went to Deking because the second project of their Renjia tourism in Moganshan had started. After the completion of the first project, Moganshan, the supply of B/U0026BS has always been in short supply, and members have had many complaints. Lu Ligan adjusted his strategy in time. While expanding nationwide, he began to build second and third B/U0026BS in some key tourist areas in the province, such as Mogan Mountain, Yandang Mountain, Tianmu Mountain, Zhoushan, and Nangzi River, Shenxi, Nanji Island and Dachan Island. It turns out that Lu Ligan never thought of opening a B/U0026B in Dachan Island. He already had projects in Zhoushan, Shenxi, and Nanji Island. Lu Ligan felt that his seaside home in Zhejiang was enough. The coastline along the coast of Zhejiang has average scenery and relatively turbid water. People who go to see the sea with high expectations for the first time will probably be disappointed when they see the sea in Zhejiang. This sea is not blue at all, it is just tawny. The one that looks most like the sea is Nanji Island. The sea water is blue. The seaside in the Jiaozhang area itself has no characteristics. Coupled with the excessive industrial and commercial development over the years, it is simply unsightly. It was Lu Bang and Lu Ligan, the founders of the Han Dynasty, who asked him to build a B/U0026B on Dachan Island. Lu Bang and Lu Ligan, the founders of the Han Dynasty, said, "When you finish building it, I will ask the media in Taiwan to come over and write articles for you. This B/U0026B is business will definitely be good." "Why?" Lu Ligan asked. "When was the mainland founded?" "Oh, you call it liberation. What do you think of the liberation of the mainland?" Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, asked. "No need to ask, October 1, 1949, when it comes to total liberation, I know that Hainan Island and Yunnan bandits were suppressed, and Lime's troops were involved. By the way, the peaceful liberation of Tibet will be later," Lu said the Pole. "The liberation day of Yunnan was February 24, 1950, the liberation day of Hainan Island was May 1, 1950, and the Tibet Peace Agreement was signed on May 23, 1951. Okay, Your Majesty, you are a Taiwanese compatriot and you are more familiar with the history of the mainland than I am." Lu Ligan interrupted Lu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, and shouted loudly. He remembered that when Lu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, first met Lao Tan, the two of them were looking at maps almost every day, and the National Army and the Communist Army were at war. He knew this very well. "It's normal." Lu Ligan then asked. "Your Majesty, you remember these days so clearly. To be honest, do you feel that these are days of shame for your national army, and you just want to counterattack?" Lu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, laughed loudly and said, "When we were children in elementary school, we really shouted liberate the mainland and save our compatriots every day. The result was." Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, changed the subject with a smile and asked Lu Ligan, "Then do you know when Dachan Island was liberated?" Lu Ligan thought for a moment and asked, "Is it also May Day, or May Day?" On February 13, 1955, more than a year after the end of the Korean War, Dachan Island was the last liberated place on the mainland at that time. Ujiangshan Island, Yushan Islands, Pishan Island, and Dachan Island were all a fierce battle broke out. The Battle of Dachan Island was probably the first large-scale naval battle in which the mainland navy participated. In Taiwan, there are still many children of Dachan Island. It's not that they are from Dachan Island, but their fathers participated in this war, and many of them died in the war. I know many such friends. They have always wanted to come and live in Dachan Island." "Feelings?" Lu Ligan asked. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han Dynasty, smiled and said, "You can say that is true. Even after the defeat, he still has feelings of nostalgia and remembrance. He has listened to the adults in his family talking about Dachan Island since he was a child. It is abnormal not to have feelings. We are all human beings." "You say right." After Lu Ligan's B/U0026B on Dachan Island was built, Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han Dynasty, brought reporters from Taiwan's United Daily News, Zhongtian, and TVBS TV stations to interview him. He also published reports when he went back. As expected, The B/U0026B on Dachan Island the hotel was fully booked with guests from Taiwan, and business was so good that after some people came, they also placed orders for housing for the next year in advance. Therefore, Lu Ligan wanted to build a second project on Dachan Island. He was inspired by this. B/U0026Bs like theirs can't actually receive many guests, but in every place, there will be something that a small number of people find very interesting. Things worth visiting or caring about. If these can be discovered, it will be their unique selling point. After the expressway from Qandao Lake to Shanghai and the Ring Island Highway were opened, Qandao Lake has always been a popular place for people from Hangzhou and Shanghai. Although the people who come to stay in their B/U0026B are all people who like peace and privacy, but even these people are strange. They don't go to the wilderness, deep mountains, and old forests, and they still like to go to popular scenic spots. They need peace and quiet. It is the tranquility in the bustle. Lu Ligan built another B/U0026B in Yongcheng, on the other side of the Xianan River hydropower station, close to the source of Mizzou, across the water from the original Shivao project. He went to Chunnan and built 2 more B/U0026Bs. Next, I am going to build another one in Fuxi Stone Forest. Fuxi Stone Forest is some way away from Qandao Lake, but when Lu Ligan drove in, he decided to build a B/U0026B here before reaching Fuxi town. The winding mountain road drove in, and the scenery along the way was so beautiful. Your jaw will drop. Living here, you can drive, bike, climb mountains, and raft. After spending a period of time living at Qandao Lake as a family by the water, and then driving for 20 minutes to live as a family in the mountains, Lu Ligan felt that this was a good arrangement and worth recommending to members in the future. Lu Ligan went upstairs to Zhang Chen's office. The door of the office was closed. He knocked but no one answered him. Lu Ligan went to the next door and asked Zhao Jingjing, "Where has the hero gone?" After Diet Men and Women completed the round, Zhang Chen, like Lu Ligan, was also preparing to expand Diet Men and Women rapidly across the country. Even if the two people worked in the same office building, there were fewer opportunities to meet. Either Lu Ligan was flying outside, or Zhang Chen was out of town, but they often met in different cities across the country. This is not surprising. Whether it is Lu Ligan or Zhang Chen, if they go to other provinces and cities, as long as there is a logistics base for Zhang Chen and others, or branches and offices of Zaixian Shui, it will definitely be their stronghold. Zhang Chen's food and drink branches are usually rented and built in his own logistics base, and are closely related to Zaixian delivery. When Lu Ligan goes out, he will also go to the logistics base or Zaixian delivery because the people at the base and Zaixian delivery are very familiar with the local conditions. When he goes there, they can provide him with a lot of site selection suggestions. Especially the salesmen of Zaixian delivery, they have been in almost every ravine and nook in the local area. Moreover, he is very familiar with the local village chief, township chief, etc., and can help Lu Ligan make a recommendation. When Zhang Chen decided to spread the concept of eating and drinking men and women to the whole country, Lu Ligan said that his courage was commendable and that I could still eat. From then on, Lu Ligan was called Zhang Chen's hero. Thinking that this call was actually shouted out in the half-acre field building, those who used to call him Boss Zhang Chen began to call him a hero. Zhao Jingjing and Lu Ligan said, "The hero has gone to Baibei." Lu Ligan went downstairs, got out of the elevator, stood in the elevator room, and called Tan Shuhen to tell her that he was back. Lu Ligan vaguely heard a voice that sounded like Zhang Chen talking on Tan Shuhen's phone. Lu Ligan asked, "Where are you?" "We are here in Baibei," Tan Shuhen said. "Then I'll come right away," Lu Ligan said, and Tan Shuhen said yes. Why did everyone go to Zhang Xiangbei's place today? Zhang Chen was not surprised in the past that food and drink was right next door to Zaixian. As long as he went to food and drink, he would almost be at Zaixian. The strange thing is, how could Tan Shehen also pass by? Tan Shehen rarely goes to Zhang Xiangbei's place. The mother-in-law likes her son-in-law very much and is too embarrassed to go to his company to give advice. Therefore, Tan Shehen usually consciously goes less often to Zaixian. Even if she goes, she also follows her. The others went together. What happened in Baibei? Lu Ligan was thinking while driving. He and Zhang Xiangbei have not seen each other for more than a month. Just like him and Zhang Chen, Zhang Xiangbei has been running outside more than them. The last time Lu Ligan saw him was more than a month ago. Home fresh delivery in the half-acre field Chengdu logistics base. What Lu Ligan didn't know was that Zhang Xiangbei had just been called back by Wu Huan from Diqianqian at Hongling Reservoir in Ningyuan today. Lu Ligan arrived at Zhang Xiangbei's office. The door of the office was open, but there was no one there. Lu Ligan heard a voice coming from the conference room. Lu Ligan walked over and pushed open the door of the conference room. Seeing that not only Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen were here, but also Xiao Fang and Lu Yun, Lu Ligan was slightly surprised that Sister Gihua was also there. Including Zhang Xiangbei, Wu Huan, Xiao Wu, and Zhou Ruyi, the conference room table was almost full. Lu Ligan walked over, sat down on the empty chair next to Xiao Wu, and asked, "What's wrong?" Xiao Wu told him, and Lu Ligan understood immediately that something had happened to Zhang Xiangbei. The cause of the matter was Sister Gihua's property management company Jingxiu Service. Someone came to them and hoped to install lockers in more than 600 residential communities and office buildings in Hangzhou and Shanghai under the jurisdiction of Jingxiu Service. The people below came to report to Sister Gihua with the information. Sister Gihua thought it was the kind of locker from the express delivery company, but when she opened the information, she realized that this was not a locker, it was just a fresh-keeping cabinet. Except for the color, the fresh-keeping cabinets that Zhang Xiangbei and the others had delivered were exactly the same. When Sister Gihua took a look at them, she immediately knew that something was wrong. All her opponents were coming. She quickly issued an order stipulating that all their property companies in Hangzhou and Shanghai were not allowed to install these cabinets and could not sign any cooperation agreement with this Daily Fresh company without authorization. After giving the order, Sister Gihua immediately took the information and reported it to Tan Shehen. Tan Shehen took a look and knew that something was wrong. She and Sister Gihua immediately came to delivery at home and took Zhang Chen with them on the way. This happened yesterday afternoon. Wu Huan called Zhang Xiangbei in Ningyuan and told him the matter and asked him to come back. When Zhang Xiangbei received the call, he wanted to borrow Qinqin's car to drive back, but was scolded by Tan Shehen. Tan Shehen said, "Why are you driving in such a hurry? Don't drive. The sky has not fallen yet. Why are you anxious? Safety first, take the high-speed rail back." Qian got up at around 3 o'clock this morning, sent Zhang Xiangbei to Chenzhou West, took the high-speed train at 7:17 at the earliest to Changsha South, transferred to Hangcheng East, and arrived at 12:53 noon. Xiao Wu was at Hangcheng East Station. I picked up Zhang Xiangbei and walked back. When they arrived at the company, Zhang Chen and the others were all there too. Thank you to reader 1297873838407110656 for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you to Water and Youth, Soap You've Lost Weight Again, Good 110123, Book Club Scooter, Mr. SGN, and I'm Still a Teenager's Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 2067. Sister Gihua and Lu Ligan said that now, I have sealed off all the communities under Jingxiu Service, but I called and asked other property companies, and they have all signed agreements with each other. Starting next week, we are about to start installing the fresh keeping cabinets. It is said that on the 15th of this month, it will be officially launched and we will start taking orders from outside. Today is already the 9th, which means that in 6 days, another Xixian delivery will appear in Hangzhou and Shanghai at the same time. How big is the scale of their display? Lu Yun asked Sister Gihua. Sister Gihua said, it's very big. Basically, wherever there are Bai's cabinets, there will be their cabinets. Several properties I called and asked about have signed agreements with them. Also, our place can block it for a period of time, but it's impossible to keep them from being installed. Why? Xiaofang asked. I heard that they are doing the work of the owners' committee. If the owners' committee gets things done and they ask for installation, our property management will not be able to stop it, Sister Gihua said, otherwise the conflict will intensify. Everyone understood it. On the one hand, they felt that Sister Gihua was right. On the other hand, they also felt that the energy of this company seemed to be quite large, and it seemed that everyone was connected. Zhou Ruyi's phone rang. She looked at it and quickly picked it up. Everyone in the conference room became quiet, listening to her humming, okay, thank you Uncle Lu, that's it? Zhou Ruyi put down the phone and Wu Huan quickly asked, do you understand clearly, who owns this company? Is it a new company? No, Zhou Ruyi said, the company is a new company, but the shareholders are not new at all. Who is it? Tan Shehen asked. Dabao.net. Zhou Ruyi said that everyone felt that the matter was serious now, and they were not afraid of competitors. The problem was that this competitor was the giant Diobao.com, which would be troublesome. If nothing else, they were just from Diobao.com. It's hard to say how much traffic Baoang diverts to this daily fresh store. And over the years, everyone has become accustomed to shopping on Dibao. Don't underestimate this habit. This is the customer stickiness they have cultivated, and it is also a barrier that prevents the development of other similar shopping websites. No matter what new shopping website it is, it has invested a lot of publicity funds and attracted a certain amount of traffic. These attracted consumers will log into your website curiously and see something they like. They will not download it immediately. Instead, it will open Dibao.com and enter the same product to search. If the price of your website is not as good as the price of Dibao.com, I'm sorry, consumers will immediately scold you, screw you, it's not as cheap as Dibao.com, and then delete your app, but you are just a little bit cheaper than Dibao. People still think that it is better to go shopping at Dabao than in your place for peace of mind and convenience, so they will still go to Dabao, not to mention that they are still wearing flower shells. Daily Fresh has a total of 5 shareholders. 4 of them are investment companies and industrial companies. I haven't heard their names. Only Wu Huan, your old employer, is the real boss, accounting for 70% of the shares. Zhou Ruyi continued. Perhaps those 4 companies are all their own, or they are held on behalf of some people. Yes, this is a well-established treasure-collecting system, Xiaofang said. This teacher Ma, is he going to cut off other people's paths and smash all their jobs? Are you not afraid of looking too ugly? Lu Ligan cursed. TCH, there's nothing to fear from being ugly, as long as you can make money. Don't look at what dreams this guy is fooling about every day, what entrepreneurs' social responsibilities and corporate values are. In fact, it's all Brother Kongfang's calculations, Zhang Chen said. It's useless to say anything else now. It all depends on the price when they go online. If we have an advantage in price, we're not afraid, Tan Shehen said. Tan Shehen is right. Among the current customers of Xixianshui, all of them are not members of Dabao. They will see the entrance of Daily Fresh on Dabao.com, and even if they are curious, they will click on it. Try placing an order at Daily Fresh, or compare the prices with Xixian delivery before placing an order. If the price of Debo.com is more expensive than that of Zaixianshui will still have opportunities due to its price advantage. Just like Pinduoduo and Debo.com are competing against each other, the only thing that can make Pinduoduo survive is the advantage is the price. On the contrary, if the price of Zaixian delivery is more expensive than that of Debo.com, it will be troublesome. Many customers may turn around and place orders on Dibao.com. The price of Zaixian delivery is similar to that of farmers markets. It has advantages, but everyone is not sure how it will compare with Debo.com. Wu Huan, do you think you have any advantage in terms of price? Tan Shahen asked. Wu Huan looked at Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei lowered his head. He was spreading the fingers of his two hands apart and then crossing them together, concentrating on it. Wu Huan said, now, 1/3 of our vegetables are directly supplied by our own vegetable base, and the other 2/3 are also directly supplied by professional vegetable planting companies, cooperatives, and families that have cooperative relationships with us. The price purchased from the farm is cheaper than the local wholesale market, so we should have an advantage in terms of price. Wu Huan looked at everyone and then said. Also, we purchase imported food directly ourselves. Their purchase prices cannot be lower than ours, they can only be higher. Our current ultra-low purchase prices are due to our bombardment of batches of large orders. They just made it, so they couldn't get the price. Pork comes directly from the slaughterhouse. The price at the slaughterhouse is the same. They also pay the same price. Here at the dry goods and seasonings in the north and south, we have signed agreements with various general agents. The agreement stipulates that the goods provided to us must be the lowest price in the market, and even if they get it, they'll be the same as us at most. But we have an advantage in vegetables. Taken together, their prices cannot be lower than ours. Teacher Ma and others, don't they also purchase directly from the place of production? Tan Shahen asked. Wu Huan thought for a while and said. I don't think it's possible. If there is, it's only a small part, and the purchasing location will be near Hangzhou and Shanghai. Purchase in large quantities, and then send these vegetables to Hangzhou and Shanghai through long-distance logistics every day. This, like us, we have a very large procurement and logistics team. This job is too hard. Lu Qiangdong may be able to do such a hard thing, but Lao Ma won't do it. No, it's because he doesn't know how to do it in the first place, but he may think that he will ask his subordinates to do it, but those people will act out of shape. Why? Tan Shahen asked. I said, it's too hard. How can I make money so hard all the time? What is their style like? They will go to the big vegetable growers, sign an agreement with them, and then let them directly food is delivered to their warehouse. This is their style. They are used to making easy money. The whole company has this style. I'm not bragging. Among their department managers, you have to find someone like our Xiang Evian and Andy Lau. He is still in the vegetable field in the middle of the night, leading people to weigh and load cars, and then goes back to sleep after the cars are shipped. In the morning, the general manager got up before daylight and ran to other vegetable fields, watching people cutting vegetables. They didn't have any. How could they endure this hardship? Even if you work overtime day and night every day, it is in a clean office with air conditioning. Who would go to the vegetable field and work like that with mud on their feet and sweat all over? They are a city company, unlike we joke to ourselves that we are a production team, and when their people come out, they feel like the coquettish people of the city. We are half workers and half farmers. As Wu Huan spoke, Tan Shahen, Zhang Chen, and Lu Ligan all heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Wu Huan was still familiar with her old employer and her original unit. As long as the vegetable prices on Dabao.com were more expensive than those at Zaixianxian, there is still a chance for fresh delivery at home. Xiaofang and Lu Yun looked at each other, and both of them thought of a problem. They felt that things were not that simple, and Teacher Ma was not that stupid. He came so aggressively this time, so he must have been prepared. He wanted to attack the house freshman sent, from the hands of Zaixian Zhao. He will definitely use his trump card to win over all the customers. That's dumping. He will use his strong platform and financial advantages to start price dumping. Even if the purchase price of all their products is more expensive than Zaixian delivery, so what? The prices of the dishes on Daily Fresh will still be cheaper than those on Zaixian, and they will also be accompanied by various discounts. Now that he has taken action, Mr. Ma will turn his financial advantage into a price advantage and use low prices to fight against the fresh home delivery customers. 2 days a day, 2 weeks a week, he will cause the fresh home delivery customers to a large amount of loss, makes it impossible for you to survive until you fall down. He occupies the top of the mountain and calls himself the king alone, and then raises the price step by step. He will exchange money for space. After this space belongs to him, he can start to take and take away. By that time, when consumers realize why the current food prices are so expensive, they will have no choice. Zai Xiansen is just a brilliant flower in their memory. Lu Yun and Xiaofang both thought of this, but neither of them said it out loud. They just shook their heads slightly at each other. In the conference room, everyone was chatting. Zhang Xiangbei never participated in their conversation. He just lowered his head and played with his fingers. At this time, Zhang Xiangbei raised his head and said, "Wu Huan, ask your old colleagues to find out where the warehouse and production workshop of Daily Fresh are in Hangzhou. There must be a place." Wu Huan said, "Yes, I will inquire immediately." As Wu Huan spoke, he picked up his mobile phone, opened WeChat, found someone, and sent a line of text. Within 2 minutes, the other party responded. Wu Huan and Zhang Xiangbei said, "We have the address. It's not far from here, in Haining." "Send it to me," Zhang Xiangbei said, and Wu Huan nodded. "Master, let's go to this place and have a look." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiao Wu said, "Let's first find out what's going on with the other party. If we guess here, we can't figure out the reason." Zhang Xiangbei smiled at everyone. "It's okay, what is supposed to come will come. I thought that today would happen from the first day. However, I didn't expect it would be so slow. You can still give me a year." "Yes, I didn't expect it to be a treasure hunt, I thought it would be JD.com. Xiaofang looked at Zhang Xiangbei and felt a little sorry for him. She knew that Zhang Xiangbei must be forcing a smile at this time. What Xiaofang did not expect was that Zheng Huiyang had not come to see her again for a year. It turned out that this meant that the acquisition failed and she had to do it herself. Xiaofang remembered that Zheng Huiyang seemed to have threatened her in this way. As for not going online until now, it is very simple. If it were not for skilled manufacturers like Shentu Hanjian and others, it would take 6 or 7 months to produce such a large number of fresh-keeping cabinets in Shanghai and Hangcheng. Teacher Ma and himself thinking of going together, he also knew that there was no point in making small fuss about fresh food delivery. As for why JD.com didn't get involved, Xiaofang knew that it was probably her senior who played a role. It wasn't that the senior didn't want JD.com to get involved in similar projects, but that he had analyzed it, including the shareholders of Half Acre Field, including her, Lu Yun and Xia Hua. "I have learned about the financial strength of Zhang Xiangbei and Zaixiangsong, and I know that if the battle starts, I am not completely sure of winning yet. The senior is too cautious. Now, since Dobeo has entered the battle, JD.com will not enter the market for the time being. They will sit on the mountain and watch the fight between tigers and wait for a good show to see who will stand in the end between Daily Fresh and Zaixian Delivery. Thank you for the monthly votes of 4 + 1 = 5, Zipanjiang 1, and Tamagotchi. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2068. Xiaofang said, "What Bai Bei said just now is right. We have no way to stop others from doing what they do now. We can only take one step at a time and see what happens after their daily fresh is launched. Then we will think of countermeasures. Now, we are in the light and the other is in the dark. Wu Huan put her mobile phone on the conference table. She was just in a meeting and chatting with her old colleagues through WeChat. Wu Huan looked at everyone and said to them, "This matter is still very mysterious within Diabao. Everyone knows that there is such a thing. A new team has been formed to do fresh food delivery. It is not the same team as the original Hippo Fresh Food. This team is not in Binjiang. It's the Dabao building, but it's in the West Factory. People who should know the details are tight-lipped, so Lao Ma must have given a hush-hush order. This is to guard against us, and it is also to guard against you. Teacher Ma wants to catch us off guard and make us stunned," Xiao Fang said. "This matter must be related to Zheng Huiyang." "Do you want me to ask Lao Wan?" Tan Shahen asked. Zhang Chen waved his hand and said, "No, Zheng Huiyang has no way to do what Teacher Ma decided. She only has the role of execution. What she does is just the work she should do. If you call Lao Wan, you can only let them. The couple had a conflict." Zhang Chen looked at Tan Shahen and added, "If I really want to fight, I might as well call Zheng Huiyang or Teacher Ma directly." "Don't hit anyone," Lu Yun quickly stopped her and said. "At this time, the most taboo thing is for us to get into trouble. Others may be waiting to see us panic and go to them, and then they ask for high prices." Xiao Fang is right. Before they take action, we don't move anything. Any movement is worse than silence. I have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on fresh keeping cabinets in 2 cities. How can it be something that can be changed with a phone call? It is even less likely that Zheng Huiyang can decide. Zhang Chen, just call Teacher Ma. "Can you? What should I say?" "Tell him, please stop Daily Fresh." "Even if you say it, he won't agree. It's not child's play." Lu Yun said and said, "Isn't it just a price war? At worst, we fight with him. What are we afraid of? Who will win in the end is still uncertain." "Bai, Wu Huan, you must stay calm at this time. Daily Fresh, after it goes online, there will definitely be a lot of discussion below and people's hearts will be floating. You must be able to hold your ground and prevent civil strife." Wu Huan and Zhang Xiangbei both nodded. Xiao Fang said, "Sister Lu Yun's reminder is right. One more thing is that you should take good care of the people under you. They will definitely come to poach you, especially the 2 branches in Shanghai and Hangzhou. Think about it. For the same business, if you recruit people and train them from scratch, there is no need to go directly to you to recruit people." "Yes, you really have to be careful about this," Tan Shahen said. Everyone thinks what Lu Yun and Xiao Fang said is very reasonable. At present, the most taboo thing is that the enemy has not taken action before the internal chaos begins. Especially for companies like Dabao.com, if they extend an olive branch to anyone, it is very tempting not only for the managers under Zaixian Shui, but also for all professional managers. Zhang Chen, Xiao Fang, Lu Yun, and others moved to the food and drinking men and women. There were still Zhang Xiangbei, Wu Huan, and Xiao Wu left in the conference room. Zhang Xiangbei, Wu Huan, and Zhou Ruyi said, "Do you still remember that Zhou Yan? She sent me a WeChat message a few days ago. We didn't know what happened at the time. Now I think it must be related to this." "Yes, she must be involved in this matter, or at least know about it. Contact her to see if she has any more information," Wu Huan said. Zhang Xiangbei picked up his phone, clicked on WeChat, then clicked on the dialog box with Zhou Yan, said hello and asked, "Are you there?" After a few minutes, there was no response from the other party. Zhang Xiangbei said, "No response." Zhou Ruyi, who was sitting next to him, took her phone over, swiped it, and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "No, you've been blocked." "How do you know?" Zhang Xiangbei asked curiously. "If she hadn't unblocked it, Her moments would show friends only show the moments of the last 3 days, or 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, etc. Zhou Ruyi looked at Zhang Xiangbei and said, "What the hell? Yes, I didn't expect that Mr. Zhang, you, could still enjoy the treatment of being unfollowed. Don't we all just ask for attention? This must be the first time, right?" Wu Huan and Xiao Wu both laughed, and Zhang Xiangbei also laughed. He said, "I don't know. I don't usually post on moments, and I'm not familiar with moments." She was afraid of being discovered by others, so she tipped you off. Wu Huan said. "You say, in this way, what happened last time was about this woman named Zhou. Is it also the devil Ma who is responsible?" He was sharpening the knife and poisoning at the same time. Zhou Ruyi asked. "That thing is too dirty, Lao Ma probably won't do it," Wu Huan said, "but the two things are definitely related. If Lao Ma doesn't do it, there will be people around him who will do it on their own initiative, and then they will tell Lao Ma to take credit. There are many people around him who have no limits." Zhang Xiangbei nodded. He also felt that Teacher Ma would not do such a thing. If a person does not have such a limit, then he will not be able to go far. Whether you are a person or a business, when you are doing it, God will not be watching, but the people around you will be watching and watching what you do. If you think about yourself, you have gone too far, and everyone around you people will feel in danger. So big gangsters, why does the bigger a gangster get, the more he looks like a justice of the peace, gentle and elegant, hiding his tail. Wu Huan picked up her phone and looked at it. Her expression suddenly changed. She slapped the table and cursed, "Go to hell." It was really rare for Wu Huan to curse. The other 3 people looked at her. Wu Huan raised her phone, turned the screen towards Zhang Xiangbei, and showed it to him. Wu Huan said, "Mr. Gan really reminded me, right? Ding Mianli just sent me a WeChat message saying that he had something to do at home and wanted to resign and go back to his hometown. Ding Mianli is the general manager of their Shanghai branch. If he proposes to resign at this time, it must be fake that something happened at home. Being poached by Daily Fresh is real. If he is poached by Daily Fresh will, if you make a profit, you can get the Shanghai market in your hands without any effort." Zhang Xiangbei and the others were still thinking about what phone number to call and who to find out about the situation of Daily Fresh. They didn't expect that they were more ruthless than them, and they would attack them every time they took action. This, if Malayao doesn't agree, others won't have the guts to poach someone of Ding Jianli's level, right? Zhou Ruyi looked at Wu Huan and asked. Wu Huan was speechless. "I'll go find him," Xiao Wu said. Ding Mianli was transferred from the original Half-Mu Tian logistics base in Shanghai, and Xiao Wu turned out to be his superior. "I'd better go in person," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Isn't that flattering him?" Xiao Wu cursed. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Master, what we can't afford the most now is a big disturbance. On the surface, he is alone. When he leaves, I wonder if he will deceive a large number of people follow him. If that happens, we will be in big trouble. The business in Shanghai cannot stop for a day. Where can we find so many people all of a sudden? Also, it's not the worst case scenario that Ding managed to take people away with him. The worst case scenario is that this matter becomes news and is hyped. The Zaixian delivery is exposed on the internet and triggers a wave of departures. Executives and everyone else have left Zaixian Shui, which will have a big impact on us. This is the time when we least need news." Xiao Wu, Wu Huan, and Zhou Ruyi both felt that what Zhang Xiangbei said made sense. Wu Huan looked at Zhang Xiangbei and was secretly happy. She was happy that even at this time, Zhang Xiangbei could still remain calm and his mind was still clear. Can see further than that person of them. It seems that he has not seen the wrong person, nor is he following the wrong person. Zhou Ruyi muttered, "No, even if no one is hyping it up, that Malayao and their navy will make this a hot topic, and our members will be panicked when they see it. Mr. Zhang, Mr. Wu, I don't think any of you need to go. According to the regulations, I will ask him to come to Hangzhou and communicate with us in person, Wu Huan said. It's a beautiful thought. Others are ready to leave with a pat on the back. Will they come again? Zhou Ruyi asked. Yes, Wu Huan said, and then added, I will let him come. Wu Huan looked at Zhou Ruyi and then said, I still believe that Daibao is a company with values. Even if it poaches people, it is still headhunting companies. Their HR will not jump directly for fear of causing embarrassment. Daibao does not allow anyone to leave it, nor does it allow anyone to leave it. Anyone who is known to have bad conduct will be allowed to enter Daibao. If I call the HR of Daibao, it will still be effective. I left the store very happily, and we all made an appointment to meet in the future. Zhang Xiangbei agreed with Wu Huan's statement. He felt that this was also a basic rule, that is, no big company would bet its reputation on a certain individual. The company's values should be higher than everyone else's. Zhang Xiangbei asked Wu Huan, when will you tell him to come? Wu Huan said, I asked him to come today. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiao Wu said, Master, I still have to make a hard trip to Shanghai. Xiao Wu looked at Zhang Xiangbei and didn't understand. Didn't this bird man want to come to Hangzhou? Why did he want to go to Shanghai? Zhang Xiangbei and Xiao Wu said, Master, when you arrive in Shanghai, together with the second-hand uncle, call the people in the Shanghai branch to chat one by one to understand the specific situation and comfort them. The other three people in the conference room immediately understood Zhang Xiangbei's intention. Many of the middle and high-level managers in their Shanghai branch came from the original half-acre field logistics space. Zhang Xiangbei asked Xiao Wu and Huo to go to do their job. They need to rely on Ding Mianli to come to Hangzhou and find out how much impact and damage this incident will have on Zaixian delivery when he is not in Shanghai. At the same time, it was also through this method that Xiao Wu actually inserted himself into the Shanghai branch and sidelined Ding Mianli. In this way, if Ding Mianli was in Hangzhou and they failed to persuade him not to leave, the Shanghai branch would not be able to leave. His departure caused massive turmoil. Zhou Ruyi gave Zhang Xiangbei a thumbs up, and Wu Huan said, okay, then I'll ask Ding Mianli to stay in Hangzhou for a few more days. Xiao Wu stood up and was about to leave the conference room to prepare and go to Shanghai immediately. He asked Zhang Xiangbei, what about Haining? Don't worry, Fatty and I will go together, Zhang Xiangbei said. Master, please wait a moment, I have something else to say. Xiao Wu sat down and Zhang Xiangbei said to them, we still have to be prepared for the worst. Whether it's in Shanghai or Hangzhou, we have to prepare 2 to 3 spare tires. At the same time, we have to form a list, that is, not only these 2 places, but also all the places across the country. All branch offices must have spare tires. After we stabilize here in Shanghai and Hangcheng, I will fly to various places and communicate with them one by one. Wu Huan said yes, let them be prepared. Even if the local area does not need to take over, they can go to other newly developed cities. Zhang Xiangbei nodded. I think there is no need for Wenwen and Xiangyun, right? Wu Huan said that she felt that no matter how bad things went, the people below would turn against them. She was very confident about these 3 people. She felt that they would not turn against them and would definitely stay with them. Okay, these 3 places don't need spare tires, Zhang Xiangbei agreed, but please ask them to bring us a few more people. We need people urgently now. It's true that when the storm rises, warriors will be ready to fight, and when the war is stirred up, good generals will be remembered. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you and, how, Fengzhong Fantasy, Zliang, Shuyo 201180211222054704, Xuanlin, Good People 000001, Good 110123, Book Friends 201911221019108222, Xiao Ao, Jim Captain, Book Friends 1611222210502444. Sman, Book Friends monthly ticket for 201707121653544432. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 2069. Xiao Wu left the conference room and went to Shanghai. Zhang Xiangbei said to him, "Master, call me when you arrive at Songjiang Base." Xiao Wu said yes. Zhang Xiangbei then said to Zhou Ruyi, "Go and find Fatty Sunday." Zhou Ruyi nodded and followed Xiao Wu out. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan said, "I will go to Haining with Fatty later to see your place, the slaughterhouse, the dry goods dealers who supply us, and the general agents of each seasoning company, and ask them if they have any contact with you. Daily Fresh will sign an agreement. If signed, what is the supply price of their agreement? The more detailed the better. If we don't ask, they won't take the initiative to come to us and tell us. For them, having another Daily Fresh has only advantages and no disadvantages." Wu Huan said yes. "Also, when Ding Mianli is on the way, you can notify the headquarters and branches. All general manager level people will be waiting in the office this evening, ready for meetings at any time. I think this matter should be reported, inform everyone calmly. We must not be secretive here. There are already whispers below. This will make everyone feel unsure and shake the morale of the military." Wu Huan understood that Zhang Xiangbei made this arrangement to avoid Ding Miyulai. Now for us, Ding Miyulai is the biggest unexploded bomb. This bomb would cause more damage than letting him explode elsewhere. I guess it would be better to let him explode right under their noses. Sun Xiangyang and Zhou Ruyi walked in together. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and said to Sun Xiangyang, "Fat man, let's go." The two of them drove to Haining and found Daily Fresh in an industrial park. The houses here were all newly built. After entering through the gate, a spacious avenue led straight to the end. On both sides of the avenue, there was a building occupying an area of 3,000 to 4,000 yuan each. Each square meter white three-story factory building has three large orange characters Daily Fresh on the upper right corner of the facade. "I'll go. It looks like the scale is quite big," Fatty Sun shouted. "This place is very busy, with large trucks and cold chain trucks constantly coming in and out. Every cold chain truck that comes in and out has the words Daily Fresh written on it." Zhang Xiangbei drove the car to about 20 meters away from the gate and pulled over. Sun Xiangyang looked at him and asked, "Why are you stopping here? Come in, aren't you going to see what they are like here?" "Are you stupid?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "There is surveillance, and someone recognized the two of us when we were caught on surveillance. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Besides, there is no need to look inside. I can guarantee that it will be the same as ours. The workshop is very much the same, the entire workshop setup is a replica of our workshop, and maybe even the equipment is made in the same factory as ours." The reason why Zhang Xiangbei said this is that he knew that since even Ding Mianli, a branch manager level person, had been dragged into the water by them, there would be any secrets on his side. Zaixian delivery, it's like the whole thing is open to the other party. People can come and go freely. Even the fresh keeping cabinet has been raided. It's nothing strange to raid the assembly line. If they want the contact information of these equipment factories, Ding Mianli will provide it with both hands. Although they and the equipment manufacturer have applied for a patent for the entire assembly line, it is a utility model patent, not a technical invention patent, a utility model patent. Which is almost equivalent to not being a patent. As long as people change two screws, it is not considered an infringement. Equipment factories know this very well. "I'll go." "No, you mean Lao Zhang and the others? Aren't they afraid of us knowing?" Sun Xiangyang asked. "Idiot, I don't know how to use a vest," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Aren't you afraid of offending us?" Sun Xiangyang still didn't believe it. Zhang Xiangbei smiled bitterly and said, Who are we? In their eyes, Dobeo.com is a bigger thigh than us. How can they be willing to give up this customer? Go and ask on the street, who knows Dobeo.com. However, we still know that we have a lot of home delivery products, and we have no right to restrict those who provide us with equipment, so we cannot provide it to them. Since we don't want to go in, what are we doing here? Sun Xiangyang asked in confusion. Zhang Xiangbei said, I'll bring you here to recognize the land. Zhang Xiangbei turned off the car as he spoke, turned around and said to Sun Xiangyang. Fat man, haven't you ever been a policeman and guarded little thieves? I'll give you a task. When you go back, you pick a few people to guard here every day. When they go out in their cars, follow them. From now on, you will guard until you are 15. No, they opened and figured out where their goods, especially the vegetables, came from. It's still early. The vegetables won't be available yet. They won't be available until the 14th. In the past few days, you should first find out where their other goods come from and report to me every day. That's all, Sun Xiangyang asked. If you can do this well, you have done a great job, Zhang Xiangbei said. Be careful not to be discovered by them. How can you avoid being discovered by them? You have more experience than me. Okay, I understand, Sun Xiangyang agreed immediately. From tonight onwards, I will watch it to death. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. The two people sat in the car and smoked a cigarette. Zhang Xiangbei stared at the two factory buildings in front of him, especially the three words "daily fresh" on the factory buildings, as if he wanted to read these three words. It gets into the eyes and cannot be picked out. After finishing their cigarettes, the two of them exchanged seats. Fatty Sun drove back and arrived at the gate of their food factory and the courtyard where food and drinking men and women were located. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the time. It was already past 5 o'clock. Zhang Xiangbei and Fatty Sun explain. Stop the car, stop the car. I'll go to Gu Gong's place to have a meal. You go back and organize the people. By the way, tell Wu Huan that if Ding Mianli arrives, let him go to the cafeteria to eat first. There's no need to say anything else. Sun Xiangyang agreed, put Zhang Xiangbei down, and drove to the logistics base opposite. Zhang Xiangbei walked into Gu Gong's office. When Gu Gong saw him, he clapped his hands and said, Come on, I've prepared some good things. I know you're in a bad mood today, so you'll definitely come over to eat. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised and asked, How do you know I'm in a bad mood? I saw your father and your mother. Gu Gong said that what he was talking about was that he saw Zhang Chen and Xiao Fang in front of him. Gu Gong patted Zhang Xiangbei on the shoulder and said to him, I know everything. It's okay. I believe you can handle it. Zhang Xiangbei sat down on the sofa. Gu Gong's office is connected to an operation room of more than 30 square meters. It is his kitchen and his laboratory. When he has nothing to do, he will tinker in it. All kinds of weird food. Gu Gong walked into the operation room. Zhang Xiangbei sat on the sofa, tilted his head back, leaned on the back of the sofa, and closed his eyes. When he closed his eyes, the three orange words "daily fresh" appeared in his eyes, sparkling. Zhang Xiangbei smelled a strange aroma of wine. He opened his eyes and saw Gu Gong coming out with a tray. On the tray were 2 sea bowls. Gu Gong put the tray down on the coffee table. Zhang Xiangbei saw that in the 2 bowls, the soup is milky white, containing river shrimp, flour bean sprouts, etc. The aroma of the wine wafts out from the bowls. Come on, let's have a big bowl first, Gu Gong said. What is this? Zhang Xiangbei asked. You've been to Hainan so many times, but you've never tasted dregs and vinegar, asked the consultant. Oh, by the way, I can't blame you. Dregs and vinegar are a specialty snack in Wenchang. You've only been to Sanya, but you've never been to Wenchang. I saw it in Fatty Fu's notebook, and your father showed me all those notebooks. As he spoke, Gu Gong pushed a bowl of dregs and vinegar in front of Zhang Xiangbei. He tapped the edge of his bowl with his chopsticks and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "I made more than a dozen jars of lotus seed wine and hid it in the back. It's not time yet. Try it when the time is up. The taste must be as good as mutai. I made this vinegar using the lees of lotus seed wine, and this dregs vinegar. I modified the method written by Fatty Fu, he used seafood, and I used river seafood." Gu Gong said, using chopsticks to fish, and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Did you see that he used sea shrimp, I used river shrimp, and this one is eel, and this one, what do you think it is?" Zhang Xiangbei cursed, "Do you think I'm a pig? I don't even recognize you." Gu Gong laughed loudly, "You are indeed a pig. This is not a 60-year-old, but a river clam. The nutritional value of river clams is higher than that of a 60-year-old. I didn't say that, it was Li Shizhen who said." As soon as Gu Gong said this, Zhang Xiangbei remembered and shouted, "Yes, my grandma bought this thing and ate it when I was a child, but we don't call it river clam, we call it yellow clam. Yes, it is also called yellow clam. The kind that has green beans all over your face. Use this to wash your face and you can remove it. Also, if you have food poisoning, drinking yellow clam soup can detoxify it. And this, take a look at this, what is it?" Zhang Xiangbei also used chopsticks and followed Gu Gong to fish out something that looked like shredded squid or pork belly from the bowl. He put it in his mouth and tasted it. It was very fresh and chewy. Zhang Xiangbei chewed it. Question. Pork belly? No, river mussel meat, Gu Gong said with a proud smile, "It's delicious. Come on, drink the soup. Be sure to take a big sip." Zhang Xiangbei picked up the bowl and took a big sip. The soup was sour, spicy, fresh, and a little sweet. Coupled with the strong flavor of wine lees, it was so refreshing that it immediately whetted one's appetite. "How is it?" Gu Gong asked impatiently. "It's cool," Zhang Xiangbei shouted. Gu Gong laughed, "Isn't it cool? Especially in such a hot weather, when people have a bad appetite, especially when you are in a bad mood like you are today. Let me tell you, Mr. Zhang, if this girl is lovelorn sometimes, after eating a bowl of my vinegar, she will immediately forget all about her ex-boyfriend. The only solution is my Gu Gong's vinegar." Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly and cursed, "You shouldn't be cooking, you should be selling dog skin plasters. No, Mr. Zhang, please tell me seriously and don't be perfunctory. If you rate it out of 5 points, how many points would I get for being so jealous?" asked the consultant. Zhang Xiangbei looked at him and said, "I tell you seriously, I can give it 5 points, it is indeed delicious. That's enough. I'm going to recommend this shit to food men and women. I can't read Fatty Fu's notes in vain. I'll recommend every good thing in it after I've tried to correct it myself," Gu Gong said. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and thought to himself, it seems that his father really did not cross anyone when he gave the notebooks left by Fatty Fu to Gu Gong. Zhang Xiangbei's cell phone rang. It was Xiao Wu. Zhang Xiangbei quickly picked it up and asked, "Master, are you here?" Xiao Wu said, "I am already with the second-rate guy." Zhang Xiangbei told Xiao Wu on the phone what they should do. After hanging up Xiao Wu's phone, Zhang Xiangbei called Wu Huan and asked her, "Has Mr. Ding Mianli and Ding arrived?" "Here we go, let's go to the cafeteria to eat," Wu Huan said. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Yes, you inform me that there will be a meeting in 20 minutes. Ding Mianli will not participate. Just let him wait in your office. By the way, don't tell him what meeting is going on. Thank you Seon Hao, Zliang, little gatekeeper, He Shi Yi Tan, Kong Ru Ye Kong, Lao Shenza Sang, not the impossible world, and San Ran heroes for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 2070. Zhang Xiangbei passed by Wu Huan's office and went directly to the conference room without knocking. In the conference room, the CEO-level management of all departments of Zai Xianshui were already present. On the screen on the wall, their respective the bosses of the branch are also online, except Ding Mianli. Zhang Xiangbei walked over and sat down on the chair next to Wu Huan. Wu Huan came over and whispered to him, "I asked Ding to wait in Xiao Cao's office." Xiao Cao was told by me. Zhang Xiangbei nodded. Xiao Cao was Wu Huan's assistant. At the beginning of the meeting, Wu Huan told everyone about the situation of Daily Fresh. After everyone listened, especially when they knew that it was a company under Dobayo.com, their faces became solemn, knowing that the situation was serious. Only Xiao Wenwen was smiling on the screen. Wu Huan asked, "Wenwen, why are you laughing?" "I do not have it." De Wenwen was stunned for a moment, then said quickly, and then remembered that there was a Wenwen who was on the line together, who was far away in Beijing. Xiao Wenwen smiled and said, "Haha, there's going to be a war. Why do I feel a little excited?" Xiang Yun said, "Me too." Wu Huan scolded, "Just the two of you, I am afraid that the world will not be in chaos." "Yes, yes, what are you afraid of chaos?" Xiao Wenwen said, "Isn't there a saying that only when the world is in chaos can the world be governed?" "Who is that?" "I watched the TV series Legend of Chu and Han by Chen Daoming and Peter Ho, that's Xiang Yu and Lu Bang. Isn't this how he got up in chaos?" "You are really good at talking nonsense," Wu Huan said. "No, I just want to say, what are you afraid of in a war? They are here, no matter what they are doing to dig out treasures and trash. If they come to Beijing and put the fresh keeping cabinet together with ours, I will definitely bring people to smash it." "Yes, you can do it, but you can't touch me." "I won't be polite if you touch me," Xiao Wenwen said. Zhou Ruyi shouted, "What the hell, if there's a fight, Wenwen, please remember to call me." Me, and I from Ningxia are also participating," Xiang Yun shouted. "And mine is from Changsha," De Wenwen also said. There was a lot of excitement inside and outside the screen. Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly. He looked at Wu Huan and said, "This isn't a meeting at all. It's like discussing with a group of Sun Erniangs how to rob homes and houses." Wu Huan smiled bitterly and shook his head, saying, "Next time we have a meeting, we need to put a band-aid on Wenwen's mouth, otherwise we won't be able to open the meeting." "What are you talking about?" "Speak louder, boss and second brother, you can't be cowardly," Xiao Wenwen shouted. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, we won't be cowards. If we want to fight, we will fight them. We will fight them wherever they open the battlefield." Up and down the screen, everyone applauded. Zhang Xiangbei feels that there is no need to continue the meeting, no need to mobilize and explain again. What he wants is the current state. As long as everyone here can maintain this state, talk and laugh, take it easy and unhurried, instead of suffering with a deep hatred, they just can't be defeated. Zhang Xiangbei has this confidence. Zhang Xiangbei said to everyone, "Okay, when the meeting is over, I will just say one thing, what did you do in the past? You did it very well. You will continue to do it like this. Don't be disturbed by anything outside. That's enough." De Wenwen asked, "We have been waiting for a long time. This meeting lasted for 10 minutes and is it over?" Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile, "What else can you do? If you are in Hangzhou, I can treat you to some glutinous rice vinegar, which is quite delicious. If you are not here, I can only wait until the next time you come to Hangzhou, and I will treat you again. If you still feel that there is more to it, you can take turns singing." As soon as Zhang Xiangbei finished speaking, Xiao Wenwen really sang "I don't want to, Don't want to grow up. When I grow up, there will be no flowers in the world. She regarded this place as her live broadcast room, the screen. Everyone was booing inside and outside. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan stood up and walked out of the conference room, leaving the others to continue messing around. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan walked into Xiao Cao's office. Ding Mianli stood up when he saw them coming in, and came over to shake hands with Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei saw that his face was ugly and his smile was very forced. Zhang Xiangbei understood that Ding Mianli already knew that the meeting they had just held was a meeting for the CEOs and above of the entire company. Others were here and he was not notified to go. He, the general manager of the Shanghai branch, has actually been dismissed. Ding Mianli did not attend the meeting, but he immediately learned about the situation in the conference room, which made Zhang Xiangbei frown. The reason why he arranged this was to see if Ding Mianli had any accomplices in the company. Will anyone tip him off? If not, he is a thunderbolt. If so, it is likely to be a series of thunderbolts. For today's meeting, Wu Huan did not notify him through a text, but verbally through phone calls. Wu Huan did not notify Ding Miyulai. At that time, Ding Miyulai was on his way to Hangzhou. When he got here, Wu Huan did not tell him that Xiao. It was impossible for CAO to tell him that he still had the sense of propriety, especially since Wu Huan had already explained it to her. But Ding Miyulai still knew about the meeting, which meant that some of the people who had just attended the meeting had been in contact with him, and might have turned on WeChat voice and broadcast live, which worried Zhang Xiangbei. Yes, is this person one or several? Regardless of whether it is one person or several, Zhang Xiangbei must find a way to pin them in place so that they cannot talk and move randomly. Only in this way can a big disaster be avoided from the inside. The opponent is in the dark. Zai Xianshui is not in the light now, but has been in the light since the day it was born. The opponent has been operating quietly and for a long time, and has laid a mine array inside them. Zhang Xiangbei must find a way to eliminate these thunderstorms one by one. Zhang Xiangbei and Ding Jianli said, "Mr. Ding, please talk to Mr. Wu first. I still have things to deal with. We will communicate again tomorrow afternoon." Zhang Xiangbei said this, and although Ding Mianli was anxious, he could only say yes. Wu Huan understood that Zhang Xiangbei was trying to buy time for Xiao Wu. Zhang Xiangbei said that he would talk to Ding Miyulai tomorrow afternoon. Ding Miyulai would not be able to return to Shanghai and could only stay in Hangzhou. If necessary, Zhang Xiangbei would arrive. Tomorrow afternoon, I will still find an excuse to talk to Ding Nianli and continue the communication the day after tomorrow. In this way, Ding Mianli was actually imprisoned here, watching Xiao Wu lay out step by step in Shanghai and arrange everything properly. Zhang Xiangbei returned to his office and sat down. He picked up his cell phone and called Xiao Wu to ask how he was doing. Xiao Wu said, "I have started to talk to people one by one. The second-hand guy suggested that you can't talk to them directly about this kind of thing. Even if you do, they will deny it and alert others. He said it is best to talk to them from the drivers in their department. I think it makes sense for my assistant to start first." Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, start from the outside to break through, that's good, you do that. Also, master, you choose someone who can succeed Ding Mianli," Zhang Xiangbei said. "What, are you going to shoot this bird man?" Xiao Wu asked. "No, it can't be opened. Now that it's opened, it's like giving a big gift to Daily Fresh. People are really excited about it. He knows everything about our Shanghai company, including the people. Many of them are also led by him. If he leaves, it will be a big trouble for us. He will definitely poach our big customers day by day, and the people below will also be poached one by one. When that time comes, we will be in dire straits," Zhang Xiangbei thought as he talked. As Zhang Xiangbei spoke, Xiao Wu kept nodding on the other end of the phone. When Zhang Xiangbei finished speaking, Xiao Wu asked, "What should we do?" "Master, Do you know that there is a word called deconfidence period? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Xiao Wu said he knew. We will make it impossible for him to leave, and the other party will not dare to accept him. However, in the company, we have no actual power, so we are effectively isolating him from the Shanghai company. We will just delay it until the deconfidential period is over before we come back. Deal with him so that his impact on us will be minimized. Of course, he will not be of much value to Daily Fresh. Xiao Wu said okay, let's do it. After hanging up Xiao Wu's phone, Zhang Xiangbei called Gu Gong, knowing that he must still be in the company. As soon as Gu Gong heard his voice, he asked. Why, not fed? I'm 1.83 meters tall and weigh 138 pounds. You can feed me with just a bowl of grains and vinegar? That's a waste of food money, Zhang Xiangbei scolded. Gu Gong laughed and said, come here. I want wine and food, Zhang Xiangbei said, let's have a good drink, and then you can tell me about Lu Bang and Xiang Yu. Okay, we have them all. The wine is good wine, and the food is good food. There is no problem in drinking it to your heart's content, Gu Gong said. By the way, how come you want to understand the conflict between Chu and Han? It's nothing. I just heard someone talking about them. I'm not very familiar with this history, so I thought of your historical encyclopedia. As Zhang Xiangbei spoke, he stood up and walked out while making a phone call. He walked to the factory gate below and saw that Fatty Sun had also come out of the conference room and was directing 7 or 8 people to get into 3 cars. When he saw Zhang Xiangbei, he didn't say anything. He raised his hand as a greeting, then got in the car and took the people to squad. Zhang Xiangbei thought that from this moment on, the roles were reversed. Daly was in the light, while he retreated into the dark. It was completely dark, but the entire logistics space was brightly lit, as if it had just woken up. The parking lot was bustling with traffic, including many of their Zician delivery vegetables, which were also coming in one after another. Someone honked the horn behind him. Zhang Xiangbei turned around and saw Zhou Ruyi driving a car behind him. Zhou Ruyi pressed down the window and Zhang Xiangbei asked. Where to go? I'll go with Fatty and the others, Zhou Ruyi said. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised and asked, why are you going to accompany the fat man when you are lonely and hateful? No, I really want to see what the guy who comes to take our jobs looks like, Zhou Ruyi said. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the passenger seat and knocked on the glass. Zhou Ruyi reached out and pressed the door open button. Zhang Xiangbei opened the door and got in. Are you going to? Zhou Ruyi asked. No, I'll go to Gu Gong's place, Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhou Ruyi turned to glare at him and cursed, you still need to hitchhike on such a small road. Zhang Xiangbei, let me tell you, there is no one else. There is me, Zhang Xiangbei burst out laughing. Zhou Ruyi got angry and stepped on the accelerator. The car sped out. Zhang Xiangbei didn't even have time to fasten his seat belt. His body swayed suddenly and his head rushed back, hitting the backrest. You are looking for death, Zhang Xiangbei cursed. This time, it was Zhou Ruyi's turn to laugh. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Zipanjiang 1, Wisdom. J. On the Road to a Nation, Weishir, Fengkonghu 1974, Book Friends 37479, Good 110123 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2071. The next afternoon, Ding Mianli arrived at Zhang Xiangbei's office. Zhang Xiangbei asked him to sit on the sofa. Zhang Xiangbei asked. Well done, why do you suddenly think of resigning? And you want us to agree as soon as possible. I don't want to leave, but my family keeps urging me, and I have no choice. If I don't go back, my mother will cry all the way to Shanghai. Also, My girlfriend is also urging me to go back together. We came out together at that time. Well, she doesn't like Shanghai and wants to go back to her hometown. Mr. Zhang, really, I'm really stressed out and have no choice but to leave. As soon as Zhang Chen asked, Ding Mianli put on a sad face, came up with a set of well-known rhetoric that he had memorized in advance, and performed it with great emotion. He had already performed this performance in front of Wu Huan last night. After a night of deliberation and revision, it sounded more smooth today. Why is your family urging you to go back? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Alas, Ding Mianli sighed heavily. He went on to tell Zhang Xiangbei that his father had cooperated with others to open a commercial concrete company in his hometown. Now, his father was in poor health and couldn't stand it anymore. He wanted to withdraw his shares, but the other two people disagreed and had no choice. Only he went back to pick up his father's class. Is the efficiency of commercial concrete still good? Zhang Xiangbei asked casually, as if chatting. It's not bad. In recent years, real estate has not been developed everywhere, but also the quality of building materials and environmental protection have been emphasized. Construction sites are not allowed to use mixers to mix concrete, so the demand for commercial concrete is huge, Ding Mianli said. I remember your family is in the county town, right? Zhang Xiangbei said. Now even in the county town, commercial concrete is so easy to use. It's okay. Our county is also undergoing large-scale old city reconstruction. In addition, the company is not very big and has a lot of business. When it is busy, it needs to work overtime, Ding Mianli said. Zhang Xiangbei asked with a smile, I didn't expect you to be a second-generation rich man. By the way, if you work like this for a year, you can make a lot of money, right? Ding Mianli also smiled. No, Mr. Zhang, you are the real rich second generation. What kind of rich second generation am I? That company only makes over 1 million a year, and it still needs to be managed here and there. Ding Mianli was stunned after finishing speaking, and immediately knew that he had made a mistake. He was the boss of the Shanghai branch of Zhexianchuang, with an income of 15.6 million yuan a year. That company made more than 1 million yuan a year. It's still a partnership between 3 people, and we still need to do a lot of things. In the end, how much will each person get? Are you a fool who would throw away the 15.6 million you have here in Shanghai and earn hundreds of thousands back there? Besides, it's not a partnership. Even if you don't join, you'll lose tens of thousands of dollars in salary a year at most, and you won't be shortchanged in dividends. How do you calculate this account? None of the lies were made up. Alas, it's just Zhang Xiangbei's fault for being too cunning, not following the rules, going in step by step, catching people off guard, and telling the truth. Ding Mianli's family does have such a commercial concrete company, and its annual income is also it's true, but his parents never urged him to go back. His father was still overbearing. Every day he would kick a worker in the butt if he didn't like it. Ding Mianli looked at Zhang Xiangbei secretly. Zhang Xiangbei was laughing secretly in his heart but kept his expression on his face. Ding Mianli wanted to say something more, but Zhang Xiangbei reached out to stop him. Zhang Xiangbei felt disgusted in his heart. If Ding Mianli came in and told him honestly that he wanted to change jobs, Zhang Xiangbei would still find a way to retain him. We'll ask what prompted him to leave Zhexianchu. If it was due to remuneration, Zhang Xiangbei would promise him that their remuneration would be improved next year, and the margin would be large. This was something he and Wu Huan had discussed long ago, and the plan had also won the approval of several shareholders. Agree. Their remuneration has been raised once this year. After the increase, their remuneration will no longer be worse than that of Debo.com. After the adjustment next year, their remuneration will definitely be higher than that of equivalent positions in Dibao and JD.com. This is Zhang Xiangbei, and Wu Huan also thought that after everyone entered the fresh food delivery industry, their fresh food delivery people would definitely become popular. Of course, the most important thing is that their company's income and efficiency are really good, and they can offer such a high salary. Zhang Xiangbei felt that it didn't matter if Ding Miyulai bargained with him in person, and he would listen to his opinion seriously. I didn't expect this guy to talk nonsense as soon as he came in, saying that he was going back to his hometown to inherit some shabby commercial concrete company. Is there any need to continue talking about this? Why waste everyone's time? We'll talk about it later when you figure it out for yourself and when you want to speak honestly. Zhang Xiangbei looked at his watch. This conversation lasted 16 minutes. It had exceeded the time of their meeting last night. These 16 minutes were really wasted. Zhang Xiangbei and Ding managed to say, "Mr. Ding, if you want to resign, think about it carefully and think it over clearly. We will also consider it here. At the same time, it will take time for me to find someone to take over your job. Don't you agree? We will consider it. Let's talk about it once it's clear." When Zhang Xiangbei spoke, he emphasized the phrase "think it through" before speaking and emphasized his tone. Ding Miyulai sighed quietly. After all, he had something wrong in his heart and he didn't have the confidence to say anything. He said, "Okay, I'll go back to Shanghai first." "Don't go back to Shanghai, go back to the hotel. If you have time tomorrow, or if you think about it clearly, I still want to talk to you. I will go to your hotel room. I will call you before I go. You wait for my call." Zhang Xiangbei said, "The subtext is, you don't need to come here." Ding Mianli felt a little weird listening to Zhang Xiangbei's words, but he had no choice but to say, "Okay, then I'll wait for Mr. Zhang's call." Not long after Ding Mianli left, Sun Xiangyang came in, holding a piece of paper in his hand, and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Damn, we followed their cars, and all of them drove back here." Zhang Xiangbei is not surprised at all by this. What Daily Fresh now sells are dry goods, frozen goods, and seasonings. These are the general agents of the largest companies in dry goods, frozen goods, and seasonings. They have all been gathered into the logistics space of half an acre of field. If they want to deliver it, of course they will deliver it from here. Zhang Xiangbei looked at the long list on the paper. These lists almost covered all their suppliers. Zhang Xiangbei picked up the phone on the table, called Wu Huan's office, and told her, "Come here." After a while, Wu Huan came in from outside. Zhang Xiangbei handed the list to Wu Huan and said to her, "Look at this list. Is there any company that tells you that they have not signed an agreement with Daily Fresh?" Wu Huan took a look, pointed at one of the condiment companies and said, "This company, they repeatedly emphasize to me that they have not signed a cooperation agreement with any Daily Fresh. Zhang Xiangbei asked Fatty Sun, "Are you not mistaken? How is it possible? From last night to now, we have followed each company at least twice, both to this place, and our people can even get the company here wrong." Dishonest Zhang Xiangbei cursed and said, "This kind of company can't be trusted even if it sends a price list. In this case, Mr. Wu, you inform them that starting from tomorrow, all the goods they supply to us must be lowered by 3 points, otherwise, all our companies across the country will stop purchasing their products." Although Dabao.com is larger than their Zaixiangxian, the current purchasing volume of this Daily Fresh in Hangzhou and Shanghai is at most 1/10 of their Zaixiangxian. Zhang Xiangbei felt that he still had leverage, and the other party would definitely not be willing to lose their big customer. "What's the reason?" Wu Huan asked. "Punishment," Zhang Xiangbei said, "just punish them for being dishonest. We didn't ask them to choose one of the two. If we chose, we couldn't choose Daily Fresh food. We just asked them to provide us with a price not exceeding Daily Fresh Food Japan. Isn't this too much? They can absolutely admit, like other companies, that they have signed a supply contract with Daily Fresh, but the conditions and supply prices are the same as ours. They haven't. They don't even dare to admit this fact. We have reason to suspect that the products they provide to Daily Fresh will be cheaper than the prices they provide to us. If they want to ask, you tell them so. Wu Huan said yes. What did Ding Mianli tell you? Wu Huan asked. I want to go back to my hometown, Zhang Xiangbei said, and both of them laughed. They didn't have to repeat such a lie for him. The fact that he is so sneaky shows that he has a guilty conscience. He must have done something to disgrace the company. Otherwise, he could have been more generous. Were you as sneaky as him when you left Dabao.com? Zhang Xiangbei asked Wu Huan. Of course not. We have both signed a non-compete agreement. Dabao knew that I was working in the field of fresh food delivery, but they didn't agree with it at first, saying that I had violated the non-compete agreement and had to submit my resignation at least 6 months in advance. I also appealed to their HR, stating that my non-compete agreement did not cover the delivery of fresh food, although they now also have Hippo Fresh. When I signed the non-compete agreement, Hippo Fresh still had no. How could you restrict me with a business that I don't have yet? In the end, HR also agreed with my appeal, which is why the process was completed so quickly. Otherwise, it would have been at least half a year before I could come to home delivery. Wu Huan told Zhang Chen that. Zhang Chen nodded and said, he just wants to circumvent the non-compete agreement. Wu Huan shook her head and said, I don't think it's entirely true. Lao Ma always builds a team first and then does things. They must have found him half a year ago. At that time, if he submitted his resignation, we would change his job and let him go in half a year. He is gone. At that time, he must have been worried about whether Daily Fresh would be successful, and he didn't dare to agree to it. Only when they really started doing it, did he decide to change jobs, and he got half a year's extra salary for his position. Get the ghost essence. It's possible, Zhang Xiangbei said. You are all wrong. He did not submit his resignation half a year in advance because he wanted to remain an undercover agent. If we had replaced him half a year ago, he would no longer be the boss of the Shanghai branch. He must be doing odd jobs here in the Shanghai company. He can't even get in. How much value does he have to Daily Fresh? Daily Fresh asked him to change jobs at this time. Firstly, he might have been sending our Shanghai company's business secrets and customer information to them continuously. Secondly, it was to catch us off guard, and our Shanghai company would be in chaos. They can just take the opportunity to get up. Fatty Sun listened to their conversation and interrupted. Zhang Xiangbei and Wu Huan nodded. Wu Huan and Fatty Sun said, that's also possible. Thank you for the monthly votes of Flat Tire, Mars Rover, Tamagotchi, and Book Friends 1101152336511898. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone.